Alright, hello and welcome back. So we had just awaking from a night's rest after a very disturbing misunderstanding, which the ensuing ruckus disturbed a nest of nearby giant spiders, which we managed to take care of. And now we are set to travel the last part of the day, although I think it is our intention to take our time about doing so as to make it to the castle after night has fallen. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, so we travel for the better part of the day. Trying to get our map back. We travel for the better part of the day, and along this, as we kind of start approaching this late afternoon, so we're still getting close to sunset, but not quite there. Along the way, along this trip, you can tell that Snapjaw seems to be more enamored with the group after seeing the display of power, as well as kind of overcoming that initial fear that you were actually part of the Yanti clan who were going to sacrifice him and his friends. That is aside, Naz knows that your power are for the good and for their benefit, and that you actually he's now convinced that you're actually there to help him, that as a part of whatever your own agenda is, at least that as a part of that you will be able to help the lizard folk take back what is theirs.
If I were to ask him more detail about that, is he hoping just to form some kind of truce with the frogmen, or have they lost territory, or what are the details about this arrangement?
First and foremost, they want them off their land. And right now, the frogmen are in a position of power and are actually effectively enslaving the lizardmen. And so at this point, they are thinking revolt. He thinks that if you're able to kill the leader, the one that has, that would be enough to balance the power to force them out of their territory, because they would just they're normally very cowardly. It's just their leader's inherent magic has kind of rallied them extra, and then the cultists have put them in a position to be opportunistic about it. Drive them away peacefully would be okay, but at this point they're very sour, and most of the people that be willing to fight are going to be wanting at least some blood. Blood for their families that have been killed, not just by the frogmen, but by also the Yanti, since the lizard men have forced to leave their families and join here at the castle entirely, leaving them defenseless, and many have died. So they want some vengeance for that. So there are some. He thinks that if he can get some lizard folk to join, some of them are going to want blood.
Okay.
He's hesitant to fight against the dragon kneelers, but he thinks that he might be able to convince some of them, if they're, if it turns as in a way that there feels like that's the cultists are going to put them, in a position or keep them down. They would, a few of them would be willing to fight some of the cultists as a part of that. but the general approach would be very hesitancy when dealing with cultists specifically, because even as much as they hate as they just absolutely detest the frogmen, the bullywugs, they absolutely fear the dragon, and no matter how bad it is, it's still better than being completely annihilated.
Well, we're not necessarily here to fight the dragon kneelers, right? We're looking for information about what they're up to, and Yosin had mentioned something about dragon masks, I believe.
Mm-hmm. The the major wares of purple, the Wyrm speakers, not the wares of purple. Those are just like clan leaders. The Wyrm speakers, several of them have dragon masks, and there's a few out there still that no one has acquired, or that they don't know. Maybe they have or haven't. That was part of the question. But also, why is stuff coming here? And as far as, I mean, but ultimately you are pitted directly against them. So, I mean, if you can do it without conflict, that'd be okay. But anything to disrupt their forces and gain information at the same time would be advantageous.
Right. From what Snapjaw's been saying, I get the impression that this is not the bulk of their forces, but that a lot of them have since moved on, though.
Correct. He's talked about the Black Half Dragon, which you know to be Resmir, was the person who originally set up, or tried to took over the castle, set up the deal, inspired emboldened the frogmen, and helped put underfoot the lizardmen because he's a dragon. But he isn't in charge of the castle. He just came, got it all set up, and then after it was set up, he put what he called the evil elf in charge.
Right. And how far is it to the guard station?
They're about half a mile before the castle.
Okay.
Which you'd expect to still make it to in the daylight right at dusk. And then the last half mile traverse, and then make it at nightfall. Does anybody else have any input or queries or anything about all of this?
I mean, I have the castle map in front of me. I'm just wondering, like, is that like, the water around the place? Does that make the uh, land really soggy and gross, and or is it still pretty? What's the word? Steady and sturdy and dry.
It's mostly like the like not the first few feet into the marsh when you first entered the mirror, but like about an hour's after travel would be most of it would be that difficult terrain.
Okay.
There might be a little bit along the main paths that are still a bit raised. He, will talk about that. Like, so this was originally built a long time ago, when it was dry, before the mere actually spread. It was on dry land, and there's a giant moat that was dug around it. But as the mere overtook the castle, all the water kind of came in everywhere else as well. Although it still is kind of a high point compared to all of the rest of the interior of the mere. And when you make it there, you'd be able to see that. Nobody else has any input or questions or anything?
Warren's kind of indifferent. He's just trying to stay on Rowan's good side.
I mean, no one even asked why we were fighting Rowan in the first place. I feel like we're a little disconnected today.
Kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, so I mean, he said he was afraid of this, or he hated the snake people, and then he turned into a snake.
You never saw her turn into a snake.
No, we didn't.
Oh, the rat. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Well, I can't really talk to the lizard guy.
Me neither.
I mean, Fane's been translating for us, right?
That's my interpretation of it, yeah.
As well as any translator can, right?
Yeah, I mean, TX was able to hear.
Oh,
Time has passed, and that effect is no longer there. But at first was at the very first was able to talk to him. Karth and Fane have full command of Draconic.
My understanding from the whole house thing was I seen her turn back into herself, and I thought he was trying to fight the rat at the beginning, and then Rowan turned into herself again, and then I was like, oh, well, so I mean,
No one questioned the rat attacking your party member, or I don't know.
Oh, I wasn't attacking anybody.
yeah, sure. I mean, woke up and seen what's his name freaking out, and then I seen giant rat, so I would literally jumped on giant rat.
Yeah, I wasn't meaning you. I meant like the actual lizard man. You woke up, and then from your perspective, there was a hostile engagement between the rat and the lizard man. And like, oh, that's Rowan, but then there was no question about why was there hostile actions between Rowan and the lizard man.
I just forgot about that anyway because giant spiders, octopus tentacles, and giant lizards.
Yeah, I mean, things did get kind of crazy.
And boats tipping over.
But I just want to kind of to think a little bit more about what we're in. We're not phone it in so much as we move forward. our party's already very difficult to manage because of the mistrust. So let's not make it any harder for me by not doing anything.
Alrighty.
It's way too much stuff to scroll up. I did hear him say, "Oh yeah, lady is snake lady. Lady is." I mean, I didn't tell everyone this, but I thought what happened was, I mean, by that point was kind of clear.
Yeah, he woke us up and pointed and was afraid of the giant rat. I don't know how big a giant rat is.
It's still a small creature.
It's a dog, size of a dog, like a
That is-
lab, maybe a little smaller than a lab.
Okay, that's actually smaller than I had pictured in my head.
Yep.
So I'd actually feel kind of silly for even firing something at a rat, especially if he's all like freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think your reaction was fine as far as firing at the rat. You know, as far as you knew, you've never seen Rowan as a rat. You had no idea, at least in the first moment that you woke up, that you were doing something against a party member. You had no idea, right? And that's a totally understandable reaction to wake up in that way. And then be like, oh, like maybe one snuck in. You just don't see Rowan. You're not waking up and making perfect head count the very second you wake up. I mean, that's fine. And then you're like, oh, it looks like dude is being attacked by this rat. He's effectively an ally at the moment. I'm gonna, save him. That's a great reaction.
Yeah, but then I'd be like, in looking back, I'd kind of giggle at the lizard for being afraid of a rat, and then especially that it turned out to be Rowan.
Right.
Um,
I mean, guess we could have said, "Hey, Ron, why was he scared of you?" And that would have been the whole situation right there.
Yeah, I mean, I would think like I mean, maybe it's just me, but the entire events as they unfold after the suggestion wore off, like there's already got to be some skepticism of this guy who's working for the other. Like, even though we feel okay, that he seems to be working with us, and then we see that, I feel like there should be some underlying skepticism or some little mistrust somewhere. I mean, instead of absolute blatant blanket, oh yeah, he's a party member now, kind of thing. Especially with as much mistrust as our party already has, it just seems very out of place to be not only accepting, but accepting on the complete ignoring it level. That's my only complaint.
No, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
TX is not that, like, he's not been the antagonist of any of that mistrust, so he's kind of like, oh, and he laughs it off.
You okay? The guy that wanted to shoot me in the face with a crossbow.
Yeah, well, you've been an exception to that.
You can't.
You're lower on the ladder than this guy.
I'm not
right
a
now.
mass murderer, but I killed 10 people. You know.
I know it's also difficult with the different mindsets, jumping back and thinking about all the things that we've gone through versus what we've gone through in the other campaign, and mixing that together, and that blurs the lines. I know it does. It sure does me a lot. But yeah, just try to think of yourself in your actually who you are and what we've been through at this point, and how we've nearly had to disband the party because we couldn't work together.
Yeah, I've not had a problem with Rowan. I've only had a problem with Morn, and as far as DX is concerned, Morn's still lower than the lizard. So,
The lizard would just straight out kill this.
yep. Sometimes they do.
That's cool. I just want to make sure we put everybody back in perspective, is all.
Well, in that case, Morn doesn't give a shit about helping the lizard people. You just get into the castle and completing the task.
And I think that's for Morn, knowing how he has
Why put
developed.
himself in more danger?
He's probably not all the, he's going along because the party is, but it seems like that he would be hesitant to do so for no other reason than to get them to help you kill for compliance, to get access to the castle, and or maybe to get them to help attack those that you would also have to attack, like common cause kind of thinking.
Warren's more neutral in the decisions. He doesn't give a shit either way. He just wants to complete the test and get the fuck out of this horrible swamp. Fucking hate swamps.
Yeah, this one's particularly terrible. This swamp scope.
If getting the lizard people on our side will help us. I mean, we could still get in the castle without the lizard people, right?
Don't know. I mean,
you just don't know. You have no idea. Everything you're going off is just off of whatever the lizard man that has just jumped in the boat and decided to join you has told you. That is literally all you know.
This could be my failing from not paying attention to the quest giver as much as I should have. But I find sometimes like we get to places and we're here, and I realize we didn't have a fucking plan at all. So I'm staring at this castle, thinking like, what the fuck were we supposed to do here? We're supposed to go to a castle and just infiltrate the whole fucking castle, because it's a fucking castle. It's at one point hundreds of guards and things running around. So anyway, with this guy, we need his fucking little army thing that he may be able to have with us.
Or if we help him, they just turn on us because, fuck you guys.
Now this is good discussion. Something that I've been actually expecting for a long time now about approaching the castle.
Yeah.
You can get rid of the frog people, and the lizard people could just turn around and kill us. They got what they wanted.
This is sort of where I was going with asking the questions and stuff, because I'm wondering, like, if we can, out of character, I'm not saying this aloud to guy who can hear me over here. But if we can help the lizardmen to rise up, there's at least some kind of distraction outside. If we kill this Spattergoo guy, then they've got a full-out revolution on their hands. And then at least some of them must be distracted with the fighting going on outside. And perhaps we can sneak in somehow. Like, we don't really have a lot of intelligence about the castle. That's the only problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would like to ask Snapjaw if he can find out where Spattergoo is exactly, so we could go and make like a precision strike, come out with his head and throw it on the ground and just let everybody have at it. For me,
is Spattergoo near the castle? Or do we have to go friggin'...
He said that Spattergoo stays in the castle, where he's living in luxury compared to everybody else outside.
Oh, so just getting into the castle itself is something we should be doing instead. Killing Spattergoo is the same as getting into the castle.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
potentially, I mean, that's where he stays. He might be outside. He might be, who knows, right? I mean,
so we still have to get to the castle first.
That'll be an aspect of it, yes. Intelligence gathering should probably be a major part of your plan. And from that kind of perspective, and seeing, especially since you're hitting at the edge of night, which I think is a good idea. And you can kind of, since it does seem that Snapjaw is entirely all on board, that would be something that you
Especially
could
after the
use.
suggestions worn off.
Yeah.
Oh, that suggestion's been off for a long time.
Yeah. But just
And
in talking,
it was the only suggestion was, that the Lily, I'm forgetting her character's name.
Fane.
Thane, yeah. It was his master, so.
And then after the suggestion wore off, he was, I rolled, and he was a little suspicious after that. And it so happens that his suspicion, and then her turning into a snake set off a big part of his suspicion, because that all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, suggestion would have lasted 8 hours. I'm sorry. No, that would have actually been later. Had actually been like all the way till the. No, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right. The timing was in line with that. His suspicions, and then her showing as a snake person, how that, which is exactly something that he's afraid of, already super suspicious of in general, because he knows that they can take human form or snake form, and have been very good at both charming and luring and just stealing people. But after coming out on the other side of all the mishaps, even though his suspicion only made the opposite all the more strong, as far as his trust of the group and his admiration of the prowess and powers that you wield. Something well beyond what he's even used to seeing. I mean, he was in awe of what is apparently the levitate spell as being a miracle. And so seeing beasts being summoned and light, happening, and just the physical prowess and everything that you're able to do, well, that's going to affect him a lot. And all of that made him very much in your favor as far as an ally. And you can glean that. It's too obvious almost.
so Snapjaw will be able to move more freely around the camp than we will. I don't know how easy as humans and humanoids it will be for us to move around the camp without arousing suspicion.
At nighttime, I can move around wherever I want.
So maybe Snapjaw and TX are our best bet at scouting. I can cast Pass Without a Trace on the rest of us so we could try and stay hidden until we get more information, if you want to take it that way. What do you guys think?
I think. I don't think. I think we just need to make progress. So whatever we have to do that.
Yeah, send him in to look around.
Can I ask Snapjaw if he'd be willing to do that and maybe see if he can figure out exactly where Spattergoo is, at least?
Yeah, with the way that he struts around, being full of himself, if he's out and about, he'll be easy to spot, or at least easy to find out where he's at, especially if he can secure the help of other lizard folk. And they will given the chance to talk to them, maybe bring some to his cause, they might be. They've probably seen him and know where he was last, very vividly.
Mechanical question. Did we decide if I can break my polymorph if I ever want to?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Don't know why that just did it. Okay, whatever. Apparently, if you middle click on something.
Or if you pick it up and drop it. Does it as a story action? That's interesting. Okay, yeah. All right. So, the first stop though will be having to stop in at the guard post, and Snapjaw would ask that everyone kind of clamber over into one boat and let him take the boat by himself up to the guard post so that he can talk with the guards.
Will we all fit in one boat?
It would be a very tight squeeze, but you could very likely, the five of you could probably fit it just standing rooms for the most part in the boat at once. It would not be easy to move with that many people in the boat, but just to sit still, it should work.
Okay.
That
I
and
am
rowing
willing
is
to
not
do-
going to happen.
No.
But yeah, he wants, as that late afternoon, evening starting to set, as you're approaching dusk, he would like to move ahead in front of you in order to, just so that he can speak with the guards and find out what the climate is like. Some lizard folk will be indifferent, some will be ready for some level of uprising, and then there are some that, out of fear of the dragon or reverence to the dragon or the dragon kin, would follow them no matter what. So he needs to find out and test the ground to see who's who and what we have available to us.
That's fine by me. He will know his people best.
Alright, so you kind of hunker over behind some brush and trees, in the trees, as he takes the lone boat forward onto a little, it's basically a little island at this point, because of how far the water has risen. This tiny little island that has, well, you can't quite see it from your vantage point, because it's kind of down a little gully and around, but you can just see him kind of slip out of sight around, and then about 30 minutes later, you see the canoe coming back towards you. As he catches back up to you, he says, "The guard post, we're in luck. These are all lizard folk that are steady and true to the lizard folk ways, and they have agreed to not only let us pass, but should arms take place, they're coming to the camp. They will join us in the event
Glad
of an
to hear it.
uprising. There are 11 lizard folk in canoes that have already left towards the landing to lie in wait in the event that something happens."
Sounds good.
That's pretty nice.
None of those at the guard post has seen Splattergoo or the large man in the red cloak, or the mean elf for that matter, in some time, not since they were last at the castle.
Okay. Do we approach the guard tower now, or do we wait until later on the night?
Well, I mean, if we have safe passage up to the castle, going now wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that was the idea, right? If we keep going, we should get there when it gets dark.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've been here while he went and then came back, time should have passed more too.
Yeah, we were right on the edge of dusk when you first arrived here, and then he slipped out of sight and then was gone about half an hour, and by the time he gets back and converses just a couple of minutes, we are now past dusk, and night has set, the edge of night has, the sun has actually dipped behind, even though there's still that last little, like night hasn't quite hit yet because of the, the light emanating off the horizon, even though you can't see the sun anymore, but in the swamp, it's very shadowy. And by the time you traverse that last half mile, it surely should be night.
Okay. Then yeah, let's go.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So as you, how are you? Are you going to be approaching? Obviously, we're waiting for the night to try to do so somewhat stealthily.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
you? He did tell you that there's like the main landing where all the canoes and boats are. Do you intend to go to the main landing?
I think I'm going to intend, and as soon as I can fly, I'm going to start flying. So if we get there,
I think it'll be night enough by that point for that not to be a problem.
so I'd be looking to kind of swing, like in my mind's eye, the landing is on the west side of this.
Yes. Yeah, you'll have gone mostly northwest, but around this bank, from about the guard post over, the bank that he went around heads almost due east at that point. As you head east from the guard point, that last half mile, straight east towards the castle, you'll be landing on the west edge of what would, like the main landing, be the west edge of the map, just directly north of the pins. The little fenced-in pin area.
So I would think about flying in from either the north or the south side. Like I don't really know what the layout is. Like TX wouldn't know, but I'd like to fly in away from that landing and try and scout in a different way.
Yeah, so you were basically told that on the north side of what would be the major area in front of the castle, in the little bitty huts, or the huts of the frogmen, and then the long huts, long houses, are much better constructed, and that's where the lizard folk live. They would be more like directly in front, and on the west, over by the pins, the pins themselves hold giant lizards, just like the one that Rowan summoned, and they are tended specifically by the lizardmen.
Okay, so I guess I would want to. I think I'd want to fly in from the south. And I'm thinking maybe even landing on top, like depending on what kind of castle this is. Like if it's a, how to explain? If there's like a roof, then I would want to fly on top of that. But if it's only like ramparts or something like that, then I wouldn't want to land on the castle.
It's more of a ramparts.
Okay.
There are multiple floors to the castle, not just the towers.
Okay. Okay. Um. Hmm. Knowing that, or if I ever got to see that, then
Although there is a bit in the middle, like the very middle, that is kind of like, oh yeah, that would be open.
I'm not looking for open. I'm looking for like a rooftop to land on the castle.
Yeah, only
But
on the towers would there be something that's like a roof to itself.
okay, so maybe I can land on that. I'll probably attempt that then.
Yeah, so they were gonna have what am I gonna check on? Yeah, the towers have roofs, but it's ramparts, everything connecting. So basically, from what you can see, if there is a round edge, like a round edge, there are 2, 4, 5, effectively 5 towers in the castle. And actually, there's one in the middle as well. There's that's in the middle of the castle. There's 5 around the outside that have roofs, and then there's the one tower in the very middle that has a roof. And the ramparts are pretty high. They're multiple stories up. The walls, as you kind of come in from that side, are like 10-foot thick stone.
Okay, yeah, I pick a roof on one of those towers to try and land on and just do scouting and raining hell from above in the event of the battle.
Yeah. You are a tiny little speck on the south part of the map.
Oh, yeah, there I am. Oh, wow, you did. Okay, now I see what you mean by big map. Okay. Okay, so I'd be fairly high up, and by fairly I mean as high as I need to be to get on top of this.
Yeah, the walls are easily 30, 40 feet high, just as a quick guesstimation. So yeah, you'd have to be up pretty high coming across. And what about, so that's how you would be approaching. Are you scouting ahead of everyone else? Is everyone else holding back? Are they going to be trying to come into the landing, get on the land?
Is there anywhere else to land, or is the landing the only way in from the water?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there is, so the landing itself is kind of this strip, and that's where the canoes come in and kind of dock. Off to the west of that, there is mostly everything south of that is kind of dry. But as on the west side, there's not the clear space onto the dry land like there is here. I think there's a lot of, not only is there just brush and stuff, but there's also some very steep mud banks off the edge of a river where a lot of this is kind of wallowed out this far in.
Well, I mean, if Snapjaw said the lizard people are on our side, then well, there's no reason to be super sneaky, right? Because if someone's inside the castle, they'd be noticing the abnormal movements of the lizardmen themselves. So stealth is already almost.
Well, there is some like some of the lizard men. There's a handful, or well, I guess 11 is a little more than a handful, but that came from the guard post to come lay in wait somewhere along, somewhere in their part of the camp here. But it has not been secured that all lizard folk are friendly.
Would he know somewhere that's reasonable for us to hide near the landing?
Depends on what your approach, like what your outward goals are. Going near the lizard pens will cause a bit of a cause them to stir, if especially if they're non-lizard men near the pens. To the north is the frogmen, so coming in from that side or going up that direction would put you in the middle of frog and frogman territory. So they could hide you in a longhouse if you got there, or they could just try to get you into the castle, all depending on what you want to do.
Well,
and what you risk by doing it, I guess, would be the better way of.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we stay in their camp overnight, we risk them turning on us. If they have semi-secured passage for us towards the castle with reinforcements that are currently agreeing with us, we might as well just take the landing that's been offered and approach the castle and enter it. Because the longer we wait, the more chance there's chance for betrayal from the other lizard men that have offered to be on our side.
Yeah, I'm not super comfortable about hiding in a longhouse, but I do want to get some kind of intelligence before we just go in the front door of the castle. Like, is there another way in, or can we?
There is no other way in except not by door or whatever. I mean, there's no other entrance built into the castle. Whether you could get in a different way, like it is open across the top. The middle of the inside of the castle is open, so someone could come in from top, from up above. There are ramparts that could be, you could scale walls and get there, but there's only one door.
Right.
Which is right at this area.
Yeah, right there, the gate. Yeah.
Like, I can get in by myself if we're climbing, but I can't really take anyone with me.
Well, you're talking about climbing a solid wall. I mean, that's in itself almost impossible.
Well, for me, it's not a problem.
Oh yeah, Spider Lady.
Snake ladies, rat ladies, spider ladies.
That
I'm a druid, okay?
and I'm going to remind Rowan that you transform, lizard people might instantly turn on us.
They just don't like it when I turn into a snake. Otherwise, it's
Or
fine.
anything. Magics.
That depends.
Yep.
All of that depends.
Context matters.
Yep.
What would Snapjaw think
About
a plan? What does he want to happen?
he wants you to win.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the best way to do that, other than just killing Spattergoo, who we don't know where he is right now?
Ultimately, he's really no expert in these kinds of things, and he's going to have to defer to your powers and strengths, as they're way beyond his. And he will help rise whatever. If we need to rally the lizardmen to try to create a ruckus, he could do that. If we want to try to sneak in to do something, he could do that.
Downside to making a ruckus is everyone's going to be on guard.
Yes.
So I can do some scouting and then I can report back to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you could also, if Snapjaw needs to separate to do something, or go first, he could do that. But as far as like coming up with a plan, he has neither the intelligence nor the capabilities of. He'd be intimidated to even suggest anything, really.
Oh, okay. Well, how about we do that then? We'll let Snapjaw go on ahead. Maybe we'll stay back on the river a little ways, and we'll let him go on ahead and see kind of what the lay of the land is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he already did that.
No, he did that at the guard post, not at the castle.
Is the guard post right next to the castle? Is that what that is on
No.
the map?
No, it's about half a mile to the west of the castle.
Oh, okay.
And he sent those 11 lizard men to come and lay in wait in case something happens. And if ruckus starts, those 11 for sure will rise with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how about we send Snapjaw on ahead, and he can talk to the other lizardmen and see, A, if he can carefully find out anyone who might be willing to join us, and B, see if he can figure out where Spattergoo is. And then TX can do his flying thing and see like the literal lay of the land, what's going on at the castle and stuff. And we'll just wait till they report back. Is that okay?
Right.
Does that sound good?
I honestly thought 30 minutes ago that's what we decided to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of waiting on that.
Okay.
Looking at my dude, and it's never intentional, but I'm pretty much a combat mage. So there's no stealth. There's no, show me some people and I can do something. Otherwise, I can just walk around and get caught. So if y'all want to get some intel, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess that's what we're doing.
Okay, so alright, so let's see. TX is the literal lay of the land.
Literally.
Yeah, I don't know how close we are, but if we're close to the castle, I want to cast Pass Without a Trace on us, so we can just hide quietly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna glide through the air like a butterfly.
Most of the walls are 30 to 40 feet up, but not all of the oh, okay. Alright. You can see that as far as height is concerned, all of the back of the castle, right where the main gate is not nearly the tall part. As you kind of fly over, you can kind of physically see that the main gate is its own entryway, It has a couple of stories there, and then it runs through a ramparts that runs along that bottom edge that you can't see because it's like the second floor. You can't see where the actual underneath, like where people would come in from the main gate, because all of the part does not work with drawing. Does not work on such a big map. I'll just delete that. Along that southern edge there, the ramparts are on the second floor, and then as it moves into the castle, it then comes out into a big open space in the middle of the castle where you can actually see the ground level. And then on the rather than draw, I should just move you around so I can kind of show you. As you're flying overhead, this tower in the middle does seem to come up to as high as the outer walls around the outside, and it looks to clearly be at least 3 stories, as does all 4 of the corners of this kind of rectangle. All the towers in each of the 4 corners are all about 3 stories tall.
I'm not sure if this is supposed to be in my mind's eye, but it's kind of hard to picture with the masking.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming under the masking is actually the floor plan, not like the outside of the castle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Go ahead and get rid of it. On its own, doesn't really provide anything that, since you're gathering this intel directly, it's okay that you have it because that's what you're doing right now. So it'll take it a second to populate all that data. It's kind of takes a second while it's frozen up. There we go. Now it's going to load it to you. You wouldn't be aware of all the interior doorways necessarily, or staircases and things like that, but everything else seems to be relatively easy to see. So way back near the main gate, those stairs come up to the second level, and there's a second level ramparts that go all the way along the bottom edge. Right there, the ramparts stop, and then it opens up right here in this spot, as the first floor is where you surmise that the main gate opens up. Is like a hallway underneath the ramparts that comes out right here into this big open courtyard.
Okay, so this area here is a courtyard. Okay.
Yeah, everything way up to this tower.
Yeah.
All around this. This is a big courtyard. There's a huge tower, 3 stories tall, in the very middle of the big courtyard. There's also a little wall blocking off the back half of the courtyard.
Okay.
I think they would call that a ward, an outer ward and an inner ward, I think in an actual castle terminology. whereas the very middle, the actual through the inner ward, the entrance into that big tower, which is probably the actual keep itself. You can see the entrance to that tower is on the other side of that wall through that little gate, and then on back around to the backside. So this inner tower would be the most defensible of all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Kind of gather that, and then yeah, and then you can see up above over here. This is ramparts that runs all along this little rectangle that your character is now in.
Mhm.
And
That's above.
That's above. That's like a actually up on the third. It'd be in parts of the third floor actually, like up adjacent with some of the top of the other towers. It runs between. On the north edge is not it's not nearly as high, but it's just very thin palisade or ramparts rather that runs along the northern edge. And on the eastern edge. And then there would be ramparts up above, several stories up above these things. These would be on top of the second floor, and then that tower way down here would be 3 stories high, and so would the little rectangle to the left of it.
Okay.
And then both of those are 3 stories high. This little inner kind of tower and the one in the northwest corner.
Okay. Couple of questions then. These breaks in the wall, such as and a couple to the left of where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Are those just like breaks along the roof where like bowmen would shoot from, or are they actually slits in the wall, or like windows, or dips in the?
Though there'd be arrow slits from the top floor. There is very little in the way of windows.
Okay.
In the castle itself.
Okay. Any areas that were lit rather?
Particularly the high level palisades, all those that are on the ramparts rather. I don't know why I keep saying palisades. Up on the those are lit. So like on the far east side, along that eastern edge, along the western edge, that big rectangle there. There's lights outside what would be the keep doorway near the main entrance. There's actually quite a bit of lights next to the main gate.
Okay. All right.
And then the occasional, like there's a couple of torches throughout, in the courtyard or on the lower rampart, but not near like a more shadowy illumination, except for right next to the torch.
Okay. Okay. And as far as I could see, no one was on the top floors then. I didn't observe anyone, at least.
There is, so you would actually have witness of some movement, like so it's not just all empty everywhere. You would notice a handful of guards on patrol along palisades. None of them look to be in like heavy armor or anything like you would really think about a regular keep guard. Most of them just seem to be in like street clothes. You do see a couple of lizardmen and what would make sense to be the frogmen, since you haven't actually seen any before now. The bullywugs. You do see a couple of them traversing around inside of the castle itself, but since it's after night, there doesn't seem to be a lot of movement out in the open spaces.
Okay, I think that's. I'm satisfied with the scouting of the castle.
It does look to be like, so there's quite a bit of in between time between someone will walk by or a patrol. Most of them seem to just be going nonchalant. It doesn't look like anyone's on guard for any actual invasion or anything like that. And
Just doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Malcott.
Yeah, Malblark.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and rest myself up in the northwest part, northwest tower, and see what I can see down below.
Down below, like into the water, or like
towards the small huts.
Small huts. You've got your devil sight, so it's pretty much the only reason why you're able to get as much detail as you did as that. And then, so go ahead and do, let's go straight up just to perception. You can see, small figures moving occasionally throughout the darkness at the end of your vision there.
Okay.
But it's not like any kind of gathering or anything like that. Just one going from a hut to another. Or you can see like a small fire way in the back corner.
Okay.
A little campfire kind of thing.
Okay. I think I'll start flying my way back.
Alright, so you go back and meet up with the rest of the party. Back where you kind of left them. The Snapjaw will return shortly after you arrive, another 10 minutes or so. While you're conveying this information, he'll kind of come back into your little hidden area off to the side, and he will relay that he was able to talk to some of the lizard folk. The others had already, several of the others that had come out left out in front of him from the guard camp have already come and already started inspiring some of those that they've known to be very nationalistic lizard folk, and they have rallied quite a few into a bit of a frenzy and are willing to, at the first sign of things happening, they're willing to go into full revolt against whatever loyalist lizard folk are even left, but most specifically against the bullywugs. They do seem, the climate does seem that they are hell-bent on something happening, and now this is their only shot, and they're going to take it.
Cool. You didn't find anything out about Spattergoo at all?
Spattergoo was last seen in the castle, but there hasn't been. But that was a couple of hours ago, and no one's seen him out. He hasn't been outside since, and they haven't had anybody in and out in that time.
If he had an ego as big as mine, I think I know where he'd be.
I'm wondering, do they know if he has a room in there, like somewhere in particular that he stays?
There is such a thing, but whether or not they know it, let me see.
Wondered if he had like people coming in to serve him or whatever.
No, not the lizard folk. They would not be
Okay.
privy to that particular information.
Yeah, I'd have a guess as to where he'd be.
Yep.
If he's even half the man that I am, he'd pick the best room.
Well, if he'd be allowed to pick the best room, there's still the Red Wizard and whoever else from the cultists is staying there. I'm sure they've taken the best areas.
The best guest room, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the lizard people are kept in the dark about everything.
Yeah, he is. The one thing that they say is that, unlike many of the others, it's mysterious that his magic has only come about since the cultists have arrived, and that's been part of the emboldenment process, and it's how he came to power, and how the Lizardmen have been kind of underfoot, and so magic is not known to either of these races normally. And since all of this, he's taken a liking to outsiders' tastes and interests, siding more with them and eating like them and living in luxuries like them that would not be typical luxuries of any of the other swamp people.
So what's the game plan? Rooftop entrance or through the front door?
How did the guard look, TX? Was it well guarded or are there gaps?
There's definitely gaps. The I mean, they were guarding in the sense that they knew that the air in front of them was not inhabited by an intruder.
Did you see any kind of alarms or anything? If one of them was alerted, could they alert the rest of the castle?
I didn't investigate their vocal cords.
I'm pretty sure a voice would carry.
There was no like big bells or like horn of cord or anything attached to it.
Yeah, that's more what I was wondering.
Yep. The one thing that you did notice, that northwest tower, the very northwest corner, did have some resemblance. That tower looks slightly different than all the other towers. Well, I guess the keep in the very middle looks different. It definitely looks more fortified than all the others, and it's pretty obvious about its structure that that's the case. But the northwest tower looks more like an observatory, like an actual telescope observatory.
Okay.
So I have an idea, but I'm not sure how plausible it is, both in-game and mechanically. So I'm just gonna run it by you guys, I guess. I can summon 2 giant eagles that are large beasts. So I'm thinking that they could probably carry 1 person each if we wanted to use them to fly up onto the ramparts rather than going in through the front door. You may be able to fly around the back where nobody will see us coming necessarily.
Well, TX can fly.
cool.
Can't he just tie a rope to the top?
That picture, it does a much better job than the top down.
Yep, I just found this one. It's actually the northeast is the observatory.
Yeah.
Not the northwest.
Okay.
That's cool.
Oh,
That's a
that's
cool
why
picture.
it is the northwest. But
Does
the
map
map's
turn?
fracking turned. 90 degrees. I didn't realize that.
Oh,
So the text doesn't matter.
It doesn't have no.
I'm totally this. The directions are as we would expect maps to be on that map. Oh, there it is in the bottom right, and it was slightly covered by a mask. Very bottom right of the map. It says in and then points to the right.
Oh, yep.
I didn't see that before. Anyway, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter.
Nope.
okay. So I'm thinking that we could have these eagles fly us up one at a time. The problem with just dropping a rope is the thing is surrounded by a moat.
I figured TX could fly up there again and tie off a rope, and we just climb it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but there's a moat.
Can you swim?
Well, sort of. Not well.
Snapjaw's going to be. He's going to be like, okay, we could do that. That'd be good. We have to be careful of what's in the water.
Right.
Are there things in the water?
Yes,
Crocodiles?
Oh.
there are things in the
So,
water.
change my mind. The front door. Let's go.
No, okay, listen. This is what I'm saying. I can summon 2 giant eagles that can fly us up. Hopefully DM allowing. One at a time.
How much attention would they draw, being giant birds?
Well, that's why I'm asking what the guard is like up top. If we approach from the back, there's much less chance that anything will see us.
I mean, too many guards you're gonna see us walking in the front door.
Yeah.
The main lookouts would be looking over the camp, not from the forest-ish area, from
The east side? Yeah.
the other side. I don't know what I'm calling this. The south side on the map.
Well, if that's what you want to do,
That's what we're going with.
that's what you want to do. Let's make it quick. Time is of the essence.
Everybody's on board with that? That's a thing that I can do?
And we can tell, I would say, for the lizard men themselves, wait to attack on a. Let's see if I can do this. Signal that I perhaps can do. Where's my minor illusion? Doop doop doo. How far away can minor illusion go for sound? Well, I can range from whisper to a scream. Okay, so I'll say, the loud beating of a drum. That'll be your signal to start the revolt. Bueno?
They can make that happen.
Okay.
So, if the eagles can carry one person at a time, TX can fly up by himself. It should just take us 2 trips. I think.
Now, I thought giant eagles carry more than 2 people based on size.
Depends on. Well, yeah, I mean, it would depend on the size. A tiny person.
Definitely carry 2 TXs.
Likely 2 smalls or 1 medium would be my guess. Looking.
Because didn't they in Critical Role have more than one person on the...
They had the
Pike
two
and
gnomes.
Scanlan are small.
Yeah, they had
Pike
the
is
two-
also wearing super heavy armor.
She's also heavy armor, and that's really small.
So she'd weigh probably as much as I would.
It's the same size as like a warhorse, so I think one medium creature would make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's not even so much about the weight, their physical strength to do so much as there's nowhere to be for two medium creatures to be. More about the size than it is about the weight. Yeah, I mean, they have a 16 strength, so.
And they're smarter than Grog.
Yes, that they are. I mean, more than you plus your gear is like 250 pounds. Even as a matter by weight. Our TX is more than like the 150. So I guess I mean, it really does make. It does really make sense for two smalls or one medium.
That's fine. I thought they were bigger. I misunderstood.
Well, remember that the hobbits in the Hobbit movie are halflings, so they're small.
Yeah. Well, while we still have Night Thunder, surprised we should get moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that other picture really gives a little better show of what I was trying to talk about with that entrance.
It's good. Looks sufficiently creepy as well.
Yeah. I like the actual artwork there. It's pretty nice. But on you can't quite see where the actual. Yeah, it's a little different than what the physical description of what it reads doesn't exactly line up with that, but the causeway makes perfect sense. It looks neat.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, that area all along the southern edge there's a first and a second floor there. As it moves up at an angle. And there's ramparts on the top, and then there is the hallway, the causeway that's a hallway underneath. So you could come up on the ramparts on top. So are we summoning giant eagles and going up there? Just
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Just flying a wide berth around it before we get to the actual landing spot, so as not to alert anybody. And I'm keeping the pass without a trace on. If it has it been an hour?
Since he went off and flew around and investigated and came back, yes, it has.
Yeah. Okay, so that's gone. Then you can remove that
Okay.
from us. I won't be able to keep it on everybody anyway if we're flying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we get as close as we can without risking alerting anybody, and then taking the eagles up and around in a wide berth.
Okay. Yeah. Coming,
And
trying for going, it's pretty far south and around, so that you're coming straight directly from the
yeah,
south. Okay.
yeah. And
Um.
TX can fly himself, so I don't need to worry about him. So,
Never need to worry about TX.
so the eagles can take 2 people and then come back and get the other 2.
All right. I like this plan. You should be able to concentrate on it. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Me! Take me! Take me!
Okay.
What? I'm gonna put my goggles are on. I'm ready to go.
And then Fane and Karth will be second. Okay. And
But
then
Warren, we're waiting for the others before we move, unless somebody notices us.
Oh, I'm going poof. Don't worry about that.
All right, good.
so you two, I would like. Do you have access to giant eagles? I don't know if we gave you one of those or not.
No,
shared one of
because
those.
not to actually transform into. I can't do that until like level 9 or something.
Yeah, way later. If you will roll, 2 equivalents of them for stealth, be Dex, and then stealth for each of you and Morn. And we will see how that works. Okay, hold on.
Not good.
Let's see. I was trying to think
Missed
if
that.
there's any actual modifiers because of the night. Let's go ahead and call it advantage on each. So the first one is pretty low, so roll advantage, do 1 more, and then the same for each of you. Advantage on stealth.
Okay.
Okay, so the other eagle's pretty high, and advantage on Morn, stealth, and then 1 on actual Rowan, stealth.
And we get advantage as well.
Mm-hmm. One fail and 3 successes. You managed to land on those ramparts, and you have not seen anyone. There's currently unoccupied. There's no one on the ramparts, and there has been no cry or alarm when you've landed.
Okay. When we land, I would like to try and find some shadows to kind of crouch in.
Okay.
Oh.
And then, okay, so you guys are stealthing, waiting to see if anyone.
Okay. Where exactly are we landed?
Okay, you guys
When
got
we
in the
put our
vehicle.
icons down.
Yeah, one second. Now it's a little weird on this map, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because technically you're... Yeah, like the little bubble right there below you is south of you and below you.
Oh.
It's like a balcony. Yeah.
It's just a defensible
Terrace?
spot in the main hallway.
It's where Juliet goes to call on Romeo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's actually on the first floor. It's actually the hallway itself has a bubble in case someone breaches the main gate. It gives cover and a spot to defend the main hallway until they can get the other. Because there is as you come in, as you can kind of see around, right, the main
I
gate.
get what you're saying.
So one of the things he was talking about, the trees and being cut and up against, but they weren't right. It wasn't actually a drawbridge. It was actually two big gates where the main wooden gates themselves are on big hinges, and those hinges are broken on where one of the two hinges on each one is broken, and they're all kind of off kilter and laying off to the side. And then the big metal spikes is actually a portcullis on the main gate, and then there is another portcullis going into the courtyard
Oh, okay.
from here.
So, like, kind of at the bottom of the courtyard there?
Yeah, underneath you. What would be below,
Right.
like one floor down.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and that in that main causeway hallway underneath you, which is also where the bubble is. It's not up on the ramparts. It's only below. You can kind of see that it's like a flat spot over the top where you can walk out, and that it is like a balcony for you, I guess, in a way. But it's really more of a thing for it's a defensive thing for the first floor. That's why it's there.
Yep.
Okay, and then Rowan, if you go ahead and roll 2 more of the stealth with advantage for the eagles coming and going. Or sorry, 2 more, 1 for them going, and then when they come back, they will no longer have advantage on the return trip.
Oh, okay.
And then so I'll need Karth to roll stealth and Fane to roll stealth on the return trip.
So you want me to re-roll that, or?
Though that was when they're leaving. Now we need
Okay.
the eagles coming back without advantage.
Okay.
The advantage set of circumstances is gone. That would have created some sort of advantage.
Oh, man.
Eh.
I'm going to hide away from you.
And Karth did well. As long
That's
as
not me,
Fane
that's the
doesn't
eagle.
critically not do good, then I think that'll be okay. She rolled a 5, but she has a +9 on stealth, so... yeah. So you've managed to pull off a crazy insurgents into the tower itself, and they're going to go. They were going to wait some period of time and just start marching on the bullywugs and just start killing them, causing a ruckus, and that has not yet started yet.
Waiting for my drums.
But because it's waiting for the drums. Okay, yep, that was the same. There was a trigger, and I was trying to remember what it was. They're waiting for the drums. And you managed to make it to the ramparts and spread out, and you have not yet seen, even lying in wait for a few minutes as the eagles flew away and came back, no one came on patrol on the southern rampart. And out of necessity, we'll have to be done there for today, so that I can double check what all's on the second floor, since we didn't start on the first floor.
In your face.
I know some things, but I don't. I'm not as confident as I probably should have been on what's on the second floor.
A wise gnome once told me never go in the front door.
Kinky gnome told me try the back door.
So yeah, definitely changed the dynamic of the way this is supposed to go a lot.
Oh, really?
I really didn't want to go in the front door. I felt that would be suicide-ish. Even
Well,
with
there was
our-
a lot of some planned things. Scaling the walls is even there, but it's not. It doesn't end well for the party for that to be the case because of the crocodiles in the moat, and then how that alerts the guards, and it just winds up being bad. But there's a lot of ways it just causing the riot, and then just quickly defeating the bullywugs, and then taking the lizardmen, marching it in the castle to find out whatever you need. That's one way to go. Stirring up the giant lizards and just letting them loose out on the camp. Since they're the lizard folks' pets, they usually react good to them and go off and attack. Bullywugs or just cause a ruckus themselves. Sneaking in through the front gate while a war is starting out on the front lawn. That's a route to go. Just going in and fighting your way through is also a route to go, depending on what allies you bring with you or whatever, on how that kind of plays forward. But there is nowhere they said make giant eagles and fly over and into the castle.
I also didn't. Karth didn't really want to use the lizard people as cannon fodder. I'd rather try to give them the best fighting chance they've got. Even though I was about to torch the whole fucking party of them last week, if Rowan didn't. So Karth's conflicted, I guess.
That's one of those things.
I got frustrated earlier, and that was not at you guys. I was just looking at and I guess I did realize now is like I did pick everything to be a combat, and just like I have fucking nothing I can do right now unless there's something I can shoot. I mean, suggestion, but so.
That has been very useful, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but for this, I don't know. I get annoyed with myself when I'm at a loss and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the path that you've taken. I'll say that. Nothing wrong at all. But your path is more optimized for combat, right? And that's good. And
I
they'll
think for
need
an
that.
RP point of view, like maybe he's starting to realize like he was sort of born not in like a destined way, but in I've been forced to way to be a weapon.
Yeah.
Which goes into my backstory, which I've kept secret. And he's maybe not really happy with that.
Yeah, and there's also a lot to think about in a robust campaign like this one. They really try to require and reward multiple aspects outside of the most direct route for every situation, I guess. And really use all avenues and all aspects of the skill sets and so that someone who's not combat oriented would feel useful in the long run, right? So that they have things to do as well. But at the same time, yeah, when there's things like that to do, there's some stuff that you could come up with, I think, where you could.
Yeah, I was kind of wishing I had like an illusion or something.
Oh yeah,
Illusions for fun.
yeah, illusions are good.
Next time I ding, I'm gonna try to add something like that.
I don't know if you get access to the wizard's major illusion, but that's massively big. It's a 3rd level spell, but that one's very convincing. Like, most of the illusions are stationary images or, slightly replicated sounds or something of the like, but major illusion could be smell, sight, movement, all those things. Major image, I think, is what it's called, even though it is a full illusion, not just images. But it can replicate temperature and all those things. So you can do, it could be literally like the mirage in the desert oasis illusion, where it smells and tastes and feels like the thing that you think it is.
You don't have to tell us if you're. Is this castle a major point? Is this like a level up point after we get through with it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is a chapter. This is a chapter in the story, a major chapter. I am thoroughly confident that you will be surprised in where it goes next. But it is a major story arc completion check mark.
Yeah, I know. I need to dialogue more when they send us out on this quest, because sometimes I assume I think I know what I'm getting into. Then when we get here, it's like there's a big fucking castle up there, ain't it? Yeah.
Cool. Stone walls, really high. Neat.
I'm just gonna climb up here and I'll just hear somebody talking and I'll have everything I need, right? Right, hey, boss.
Before this cape, TX has not been able to break into a castle, so he is relishing this opportunity.
This is TX's episode. He did some really cool stuff. Like, he's gonna have an actual true story about how he jumped on a spider's back and did all this cool
Rode
things.
it like a rodeo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but when he tells me to get wet.
Yeah, well.
And then a spider jumped on my back, and I jumped on his back too.
I jumped on a spider's back, and another spider jumped on my back, and it tossed the car 15 feet in the air.
And then I caught him.
It was neat.
Yeah, I didn't think I would catch the tree because God, all my rolls are so crappy around that boat.
Yeah, that worked out pretty good for you, in fact. Landing in the tree. Yeah, I was very interested to see how you would take how battle would go in canoes and on the edge of trees like that.
Yeah, that was interesting, actually. I can honestly say I never thought I would get to use a giant octopus.
Yes. Those were cool. For sure.
See, we're paralleling Game of Thrones here, because I think the next Game of Thrones episode is going to be like a whole battle episode, and that's what our next thing's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to fight.
You're going to kill all the people. Or all the people are going to kill each other. Or who knows at this point now.
All the peoples.
But yeah, I think that's an interesting thing to look forward to for next week. Will be what all levels of
Also,
combat, planned combat.
next week, the week after next will be a holiday, so this will be our. We'll have 2 weeks between sessions after this next one, so
Correct.
hopefully a nice epic battle will get us.
Hopefully we can make enough progress through it that we're not still epic battling, which we may get.
Oh God, yeah, that cave we were in for 3 years.
There is a lot of rooms available in the castle. I think that's pretty evident just from what you've seen. And you can go in the mall. They've got something for every one of the rooms. You don't have to.
I think probably we'll want to.
Oh, we will.
Is there
Probably
a
2 or
bridge
3
we get to
times
look
a
under?
piece.
A bridge.
There will be things good and bad potentially in rooms. I can also say that conclusively. And there will be some surprises. Whether those are good or bad, that'll just depend.
I like surprises.
There is a red wizard.
Yeah, that's the part I'm most nervous about, honestly.
Psh,
You got a red wizard. You've got the dude. I keep forgetting his name. The fish guy that the lizard people don't like, or frog
Splattergoo.
guy. Splatter. Yeah,
Splattergoo.
I keep wanting to say plaster goop or something.
Got some images here.
But there's a third kind of power. There's an elf here that was mentioned. Not a twin, I don't guess. Thankfully.
Just some pictures that I always keep forgetting to share.
Yeah, you don't have to show us the lice creatures that we're attacking.
We haven't seen any sign of Roland so far, eh?
We have not. He left out 2 days before us. So you would think that if he was here, surely to God something would know about it.
or we'd hear it.
Snapjaw.
Yeah, he looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gave us his. Well, not his plan. You gave us his army. You wrapped that bow up and made sure we saw it. Oh wow!
I want the hat.
Farblex. Spattergoo.
Plaster gut.
He looks like the
Straight
end
up
boss
Gungan.
from Mario 2.
I was thinking
Oh.
he looks exactly like Frogman from Mega Man.
I don't know, kind of
With
reminds
a
me of a
head.
Gungan.
Yeah, Gungan. I mean, that's what a Gungan is a bullywug. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Straight up toting the head.
Where's that other? Oh, that thing. Yeah, I get you. I was having a hard time picturing that.
Oh yeah, I have a 3-day weekend coming up. Woohoo!
Nice.
We got the 4th of July.
I don't know how much of a weekend I'm getting for that. I'll at least have the 3rd and the 4th off.
Sunday, Monday, yeah. I mean, it's 3-day weekend for us. For me. I mean, our dealership's open, but I won't be working.
Oh, so this is a different red wizard? It's not the one that we saw before?
It is the one you saw before.
Oh, I pictured him differently.
Yeah, tattoos on the head.
He
Bald.
does look a little different because he had the cap on or whatever. or you couldn't see, like a beanie.
You have a beard. I pictured a beard for some reason.
I know, right?
And here's one you have not seen.
Oh, is that the elf? Maybe.
This is the best you can tell from the description.
He looks like a pansy.
Totally.
Although his armor does look pretty sweet. He looks like Martin Prince. Or not Martin Prince. Narcissus Prince from Super NES Punch-Out. Narcissus Prince.
He seems okay. What is he? He's pretty close to an Eldritch Knight. Yeah. 7th level Eldritch Knight.
Fucking fighters. I hate fighting fighters. I like being a fighter, though.
I think both can be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. He's got a couple of cool little abilities. Kind of neat. He's really not exactly an Eldritch Knight. He's not exactly a fighter. He doesn't have let's see. He doesn't have action surge. He's got a lot of stuff that mimics an Eldritch Knight. He'll be neat. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was like,
What's
is
that?
he a sorcerer? No, he's an actual wizard. With the red wizard.
Yeah, it's about time for me to kill a wizard.
Yeah, he's not a divination wizard like Quip is. He is an evocation wizard. He looks to be to have a whole lot in common with Karth.
Oh boy.
That castle's gonna get burned to the ground, ain't it?
Yeah.
Burning
Hope we don't.
18. One cool thing that they've got that the evocation school gives them is they can sculpt their spells. I think you can too with your sorcery points, can't you? To
I
make
don't think so.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember. So, like, if he drops a fireball, he could have it not hit the squares that his friends are in.
I have something that puts like gives them advantage or disadvantage, but it's not something I've chosen yet.
Oh, you have the meta magics that you could use.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have questions or anything? Figuring out how you might want to prepare this stage. We start next week. Pretty much killing all the things.
Yeah, I'm pretty much ready for a fight.
Yeah, I did my spell prep already, so I had to.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't expect us to have a random encounter today, to be honest. I put it at this side. I put it at upper side of 90. It's the only 91 plus was the only way to get a random encounter. And I got a 99.
The dice were weird today, man.
Yeah, because I rolled 100 on one of the other D100 rolls that I did. I got a 99 and 100 today. Oh yeah, the 100 was to see if she could stabilize the bow, if that would help her at all.
Well, that's good. At least that was in our favor. I'm pretty sure all of the D4s I rolled today, I rolled a 4 on.
Huh. Yeah, probably. It seemed that way, for sure.
Pretty sure all the d20s you rolled a 4 too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's alright. All of your minions rolled plenty of d20s in the good for you, so there's that.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing I found during that battle was like